Good afternoon and welcome back to Splitting the House. I'd like to welcome today's guest, Xander Rolvag. He asked me to make an introduction. I think he is a voice that many of you may be familiar with as a commentator for World Curling Federation. But also, Xander, you've been involved in so many different aspects of the sport as Icemaker at the Snaroya Ice Hall in or near Oslo. Obviously, you've been involved with the media. You've been doing a bit of video editing and creating some stories and some cooking, some curling, and some sort of art type films as well. And it's a pleasure to have you, Xander.
Well, thank you, Jay. It's always a pleasure.
So this weekend, one of the other things going on is the Norway Cup. We will have more live curling action coming to us from a place unknown to many of, especially Canadian curling fans. But this Norway Cup has been something that the association's been running for several years now.
Yeah, it's usually it's called the Norwegian Cup. You play 3 rounds, 3 weekends, different places in Norway, and then usually, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years, it's been rounded off with like a final, the 6 best teams. It's all different now. We're doing like an elite, like a tier 1 sort of thing, and a tier 2. So it's the 4 best teams from last year in tier 1, and then the rest in tier 2. So yeah, a little bit different this time. Yep, pretty much. Yeah, with about, I don't know, 16 teams in the competition, we're going to have the difference in levels from top to bottom. But like I said, this year will be split into 2 tiers. So yeah, I think some teams will be happy not to be able to have to face off against Ulsrud, and I'm sure Ulsrud will be happy to not have to face off against some of the worst teams in the country. So might be a good thing. Yep. Well, interesting. I think neither team has been doing amazing so far, but I think Ulsrud's happy to have his old buddy back. They seem to be inseparable. They've played together for over 3 decades, so I think it's kind of like a comfort thing for him to have Torger back. And of course, they have a pretty good front end. Marcus Højberg and Magnus Vågberg. Probably at least maybe the 2 strongest sweepers in our country, but I would say overall probably pretty good sweepers in world terms. So don't think Ulsrud could blame those guys for missing shots this season, but yeah. Yeah, we don't get to play as much. They've been practicing quite a bit though. But yeah, I always remember if it was too far, like if the competition was too far ahead, I would not practice. Like you need those competitions to keep you going. Just practicing every day with no particular goal ahead is pretty hard to do unless you're Ulsrud and you have no life except curling. Then it's hard to do, I think. But yeah. Yeah, we put together some scraps. We'll have myself and Christopher Sva, Howard Peterson. So we picked up Ulsrud's old front end. And it's kind of weird, Jerry, that the oldest guys on that team, they kept playing, but the youngest guys, they quit. So anyway, we picked them up. We're going to play at least this one weekend with them. And we have Alexander Lindström as well, world junior champion from Sweden. He's actually here right now, Alexander. Well, I think you've sugarcoated that pretty well, Jerry. From my perspective, that I was just running around drunk, holding a GoPro. But yeah, I mean, we had a great time. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of curlers have pretty fun lives, and it'd be. I mean, I know a lot of them personally, obviously, and I think there's tons of stories and fun stuff to dive into, but maybe so far not too many have done that. So I think, especially because I know quite a lot of them personally, I wouldn't mind digging a little deeper and try to see what we find. And if I push some buttons, then oh well. I mean, they'll forgive me. And then, but yeah, it might be a little more interesting. Get a different look at it. You know, a little bit more in depth and behind the scenes, like you say, Jerry. Not so much just scraping the surface. Well, yeah. Well, this is the thing, and this is, I guess, the story that I'll be trying to dig into a little bit this weekend, right? So you had the Ulsrud Wallstad rivalry, which ended up with Wallstad beating them at nationals a second year in a row, which put them into the world championship for the first time ever, and obviously ended Ulsrud's run of like 13 years at the Worlds or something. So it started there. But then we had a few shifts, a few different lineups, a couple of players kicked, a couple of players brought in, and so on. And yeah, I don't mind asking around and seeing what actually happens. You know, why isn't Wallstad playing with Ilsrud this year? I don't know. Was he kicked, squeezed out? Was that a mutual decision? I don't know. I think we should be yeah, I think we should dig up some dirt. I know I have a guy right over here. He was squeezed out of that team. I'll be talking to all those guys this weekend, I think. So yeah, I mean, we don't have that many players, right? So if you get kicked off a team, it might be hard to actually find another because there's so few players. So you're either the best team or you're not. But I think right now we probably have 3 competitive teams and then a couple of junior teams coming up. But I think always the problem is when these kids start getting into college or university age, they start to imagine that there's other things in life more important than curling, which we all know is BS. So we tend to lose some of those players. So it's a bit of a shame. But I do my best to encourage them to, you know, not study and just play curling and live the lives like me and Bompy. Yeah, well, so the backstory there, Jer, is that I was asked to be the coach at the Norwegian Curling Academy because they had one of their coaches was on sick leave and the other one on paternity leave. So I stepped up and went to Lillehammer, and I still am. And I went there. I was at work for one day. And then on my second day, on my way to work at 7 a.m., I got a text saying, 20 hockey players at the sports academy or sports high school got infected with corona. So whole school's shut down. So I just go home, and I just got put in quarantine 10 days after one day at work. So that was great. And those videos,
obviously, right?
of my boardroom sitting alone in my house.
You had a little bit extra time. You were talking about there being put a little bit of a false start with your camp in Lillehammer that you were going to be teaching at. But tell us let us know a little bit more about it.
I think it's just a feeling that we've all had that we've missed curling. And ever since I put that video out, a lot of people have told me that, either texted me or in person, that that the video hit a bit too hard for them. So yeah, I guess I think it's just a general feeling how we all felt. We wanted to go back and curl, but we couldn't. And I know I've been, looking at curling videos and stuff and missed it. And yeah, it's a little bit silly, but I guess it's kind of sad. I guess it depends on what kind of person you are. For me, it was trying to make it sad in a funny way. But yeah, seemingly some people found it a little hard to swallow, because I think a lot of people have been missing the game. But I guess most of us are back on the ice now, right? Or in Canada too.
We're starting to see that in a lot of places. I know we're gonna hopefully have the Stu Cells events in a couple of weeks. Looks like everything is still on pace there. But yeah, it's certainly really challenging, and I know from your perspective as well, where you know, you do so many different things within gone or on pause.
Yeah, I mean, I got a 4.5 month vacation, but luckily I live in Norway, so we just cash out the oil fund, so it hasn't been too bad. But yeah, it was strange to get back into work, and now I've done nothing but working for the last 6 weeks. There's been a lot to do, and three different curling clubs in 3 different municipalities, so it's been a little hectic. And this weekend I'll be doing 6 sheets of ice by myself and playing the competition as well. So yeah,
I'll keep you going. Maybe do a little bit of interviews. I think you were talking about shooting a little bit of a documentary behind the scenes. You know, carry that
yeah, because what I didn't mention earlier was along with Lindstrom, Howard Peterson, and Christopher Sva, our coach and alternate will be Oscar Eriksson. So it could be an interesting weekend for 4 ex-players and 1, I would say, current player. And he's on the bench for some reason, but yeah.
Keep him away from you guys.
I can't wait to fake an injury, or I probably won't have to fake it because I am riddled with injuries, but some part mid game against some juniors, and then just say, all right, I'm gonna have to step off, and then just bring Oscar Eriksson onto the ice and just see the look up on the kids' faces, how they feel Oscar getting onto the ice. It'll be enjoyable, especially because I'm playing against some of my students at the curling academy this weekend. So
that is certainly a good way to do it. You know, they'll get a feel for it. They'll get to meet and see somebody like that, and it's almost like its own little fantasy camp kind of idea when you get the opportunity to kind of rub shoulders with teams like that in the club.
Yeah, I think definitely there'll be a couple of people annoyed that if Oscar ends up playing, which I think he might do if we make it to the playoffs, as Howard can't play on Sunday. But yeah, I think anytime you can bring in a world-class player like that to play in our events, that's only a good thing, especially for the young players. So. And but yeah, and it'll be a plus for us because I've only thrown 32 rocks in 2020, so I don't know about very much.
Well, I'm sure it'll just be great to be back on the ice playing a competitive game again. Let us know a little bit about your YouTube channel, what you've been doing up there. I got one of your favorite cooking episodes that you put together as well. I know you put a number of these together, and you know, your witty humor, the way you put these together, I think are definitely must watch for anybody who's a curling fan and come across some of your other work as well. I gotta let this one play out to finish the show. But yeah, it's been great seeing what you're doing. You know, throw a shout out. Where can we find all your stuff?
Yeah, I don't think I have enough subscribers to have my own specific YouTube URL. So yeah, I think it's under Sander Cooks, because what happened was I saw Colin Hodgen put cooking videos on Facebook, and Colin's a great cook, but he's a shitty videographer. So I felt like improving on that. So, but I think my videos, they might look slightly more professional, but I think Colin's food is probably still way better. But yeah, that's why I started doing it. I think I'm a bit of a scatterbrain, especially in terms of creativity. So when I have an idea, I'll just do it, but I won't necessarily do it for a long time. I'll just do whatever pops into my mind. So I might rename my channel, because I guess I won't only be doing food stuff. I'll just do whatever falls into mind, and if someone likes it, great. If not, it's a way to feed my insanity. So it's all good.
Anyways, thanks a lot, Xander. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the time on the ice this weekend. I'm sure we'll be in touch all over the course of the event. If you're looking for scores and results, we'll have them on Curling Zone. Of course, if you're looking to get more updates and follow along, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Click that bell as well. Facebook, subscribe. Make sure you click on the notifications so you know when we're up next. And check out Xander Cooks on YouTube as well. This is a fun video of a mac and cheese burger. I am looking forward to the day you can make one of these for me, man.
Yeah, well, I've been on a diet for a few months now. That's the other reason why I haven't been making any more cooking videos, because I think rice cakes and tap water isn't really too fun to watch. But yeah, deep fried mac and cheese. Yeah, I've been missing it.
Well, here we go. Anyway, thanks, Xander, and good luck this weekend.
All right, thank you, sir.
Hello people of the world, we're going mega unhealthy this time, and butter is the way to start. Show off some epic spatula skills and add some flour to make a roux. Take a time machine and go back to the 1950s and find your milkman, get the milk and gently add it to your roux while whisking. Let's talk cheese. I'm going with a good melting Gouda, a nutty Parmesan and some strong cheddar. You want to grate this yourself, as pre-grated has anti-caking agents. Add the cheese to your bechamel and melt over medium heat. To give this thing a kick, mix a dash of smoked paprika, mustard powder, black pepper, salt, garlic and onion powder, and boom, flavor. Add your pre-cooked macaroni, mix and let cool. Being impatient, I'm sloshing it around. Get an oven dish, oiled and lined with parchment paper, add the mac and cheese and pop it in the freezer for an hour. I'm reusing some oil after making fried chicken. Can't hurt, can it? Smells like KFC. Now your cheese is the bee's knees, ready for cutting into some fine squares. Make sure your oil is heated to somewhere between scalding and infernal. Get 3 bowls, flour bowl, egg bowl, panko crumb bowl. Make like Goldilocks and get a good feel for all 3, covering that cheesy square in a blanket of wheat cocaine, unborn chicken and massacred bread. Gently drop into your oil and fry until golden and brown on both sides. It's Friday. Toast a bun, hun, brioche if you can, get your cheese square and soak up some of the excess oil. 1 Angus beef burger patty cooked in ripping hot bacon fat, a classic burger dressing on the bottom, patty on top, then our behemoth and top bun. What could make this better? Have a think? Yes, bacon. Strips of super crispy bacon. Done. After all that work, it is time to watch the glutton prey on its victim. Listen out for that crunch. Enjoyable? Yes. No shame. No worry. No care. Disgusting. What does your Fitbit say? Cardiac arrest? Okay. Had to add 3 strips of bacon, didn't you? Jesus Christ. He wants you to subscribe and please comment down below if there's any questions. bit of sugar to feed the dry yeast. Speaking of, 2 teaspoons of that as well.